Welcome to the Creative Entrepreneur Show. What do we have this week, Bryon?
Hey Rosh, happy to be here. I'm excited to talk about the one of the best places I found to get good information about how to use AI, and it's right in something we've been using all this time, Facebook groups. I'm going to talk about some really good groups to learn, and then also, Rosh, I'm going to talk about why the Swifties are pissed. There's some
Excellent.
AI
Good,
stuff going on, but let's
good,
let's
good
talk about the
topics.
Swifties. Yeah. Let's keep it relevant. All right, what do you got going on, bud?
I want to talk about how to embrace AI as a creative entrepreneur and also how to reject AI as a creative entrepreneur. So, let's start with yours. I'm curious
I
about your
love
Facebook groups.
Yeah, so Facebook groups, I think, Facebook Marketplace and Facebook groups, I think are the main reasons why Facebook is still so successful.
Mm,
Especially with their group function. It's so high up in the algorithm. I mean, every time I open up Facebook, one of the first two or three posts I see is from a group.
right.
Whether that be some, guitar thing or some AI thing now. And so I wanted to let our audience know about two groups that are free to join. One of them's got 50,000 members. The other one's got 256,000 members. So huge communities online sharing what they're doing in the AI world. The first one that I really like, it's actually a little smaller. It's called AI / Chat GPT prompts for entrepreneurs. And how perfect is that for this show? And what they're doing is and it's a lot of image-based stuff, but what they're doing is they're sharing images they've created via AI. But more importantly, they're sharing the prompts that they gave to get these images. So,
Okay.
like we've said a million times, garbage in, garbage out, right?
Yep.
Show me an image of a cat. Here's the cat. Now, these prompts are getting so detailed. We're talking paragraphs long.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've seen lately that I love is at the end of the prompts, they're actually starting to call out the type of camera that this photograph should look like it was taken with,
Oh, wow.
and the aperture, the lens, the everything. And you learn so much from these prompts that you realize that it's open-ended the amount of information we can give AI to try to get a reply back. So it was like somebody someday was like, hey, yeah, this looks great, but it looks like it was taken on a Nikon. I love Sony. All right, recreate this image like it was taken on a Sony.
Yeah.
And it'll do that. It'll factor in all these things. So it's really unbelievable, what people are doing with things.
I
And
think that's so important because honestly, as I've been looking and been more involved with AI, it's I think we've talked about this. You can just look at things and say, "Oh, that's AI."
Mhm.
I mean, I have a background on my blog, and it's so AI. I mean, it's so AI.
Right,
I mean, the style of design. I've
right.
seen very similar designs everywhere. I like it, and so there's actually a little piece that I want to share in a moment, but go ahead. Continue on
Cool.
with your thing, because I
Right.
think it's interesting the way this is all turning out.
Yeah, because it's going after that photorealism.
Yeah.
It's not just everything looking surreal. And this is going to touch on my next topic because I'm talking about AI deepfakes. And, I think we're actually kind of touching on some similar things here. And I'm going to want to give some advice of things to look for to try to catch these things. But, when these prompts are getting this detailed and some of the actual responses, the results that we're seeing posted are incredible. And it's really starting to blur that line. I mean, yourself, Rosh, in your, previous career there and, current career being a photographer,
Hmm.
you should see some of these prompts where people are saying, a very crisp watermelon on a splash with
Yeah.
this, focused foreground, blurred background with this aperture lens taken on this camera at this frame rate. And the images that you're getting are insane. Like I'm
Oh,
staring at them deeply, and it's like I couldn't imagine a better food photography shot than this.
yeah. Well, and I think that a lot of stock photography is dead in that
Yeah.
sense.
Yep.
Generic stock photography.
Right.
Obviously, new product, new, that can, of course, you can put a new product up in the AI and it can do some very interesting things. What I was going to share though, that was interesting, and I'm looking at what the AI is producing, and I said I can see that's AI. But there was an article recently that uh, it said that they asked people which copy they preferred, and between human and the AI, people preferred the AI copy. And so
Wow.
that was interesting. And so I think that the AIs are producing stuff that we we like, that we are reacting to positively. But as a creative person, you're going to want to go beyond that, and that highly detailed, being able to work with the AI in a highly detailed way and know what to ask. I think to your
Right.
point, knowing the cameras, knowing the different styles, shine flu. Do you know what that is? That's a 4x5 technique that architectural photographers use. But if you don't know that,
You wouldn't
then
know to ask.
you
Right.
wouldn't know to ask that. And so things like that you can become an expert as a creative and still insist on using your own one style and your own original creative elements.
Mhm.
The bottom line is ultimately people want a good product to advertise or appreciate, to put on their wall, whatever it may be. And so, creatives are still going to be creative. There'll just be some steps taken out.
Right. Yeah, this is just going to make it more accessible. So, I mean, I know you said your first topic is embracing AI. So this is really, truly that, it's being a creative and knowing the prompts and using your knowledge that you've gained for years of being a creative and truly embracing it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So embracing AI, and then I'm going to talk about a way that people are rejecting AI to protect
Hmm.
their their work. But embracing AI in the sense of, look, moving forward, it's here whether you like it or not. There's more and more. We talked about the video last week. What's coming, but these are just tools. These are something. There's some. You have to remember that AI is dependent on what was.
Hmm.
The creative is going to still develop what is and what's future. And so there's going to be a baseline that will be continuously created, but it'll be up to creative people like you and me to create what is new. And again, that's where we'll get into the rejecting AI ways in which we can protect that, which
Hmm.
are being developed. And so I think more and more there's going to be a what was, and then the creatives do create what's new. Some of it will go into the AI world, some will not if you do it correctly. But embracing it because it is a tool that will help you skip many of those steps, as we just mentioned. I think that's so important to understand that there's a lot of things that as creatives we really don't want to do. And there's a lot of areas that will allow us to let's just get into the business side of things. I know for a fact creatives hate the business side of things. You want to create more. AI is going to help you with that. And if you're just mad at AI from because you think it's going to steal everything and steal your soul and just reject it as a whole, I think ultimately you have to change your mindset and look at where it can help you embrace that and
Right.
know that your opportunity to be a creative person and a creative entrepreneur is not going to end.
Yeah, and like you said, embracing it. Think back 30 years ago and you look at a TV show or movie or anything and you look at your typical office. How many desktop computers did you see in the mid 90s?
Yeah.
They were starting to happen, maybe some word processors, maybe some very basic internet. And it was, a lot of companies were resistant, to this change. And then all of a sudden by, year 2000, by,
Oh,
2005,
exactly.
everybody you had to be internet based.
Yeah.
And
Well,
we're on that verge again with AI technology. You've got to embrace it or you're going to be left behind.
absolutely. I mean, my wife and I have been binging NYPD Blue, and we're
Nice.
at the year 2000, and they're just putting the computers on the desk,
Yeah, the cell
and
phones are
and
starting to show
and I,
up,
and I
right?
can't tell you how many times it's like, well, what do you mean they had to wait for the call or they missed the call? I mean, but nobody had cell phones through the first 7 seasons or so that we've been watching. You're like, what's going on? But the community, it's just you're watching that progression. It's actually been fun to watch that progress because it's such a show that's been around for so long and was
Right.
around for so long. During that change, you can start to see how, look, people totally rejected, um, you know, were scared about Photoshop, or to your point, scared about the computers.
Yeah.
And you know what? It gave them more opportunity. And I got to tell you, I know very few photographers that would know what to do with their photography if they didn't have the tools that photographers were
Right.
rejecting 20 years ago.
Exactly. Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's flip that coin. Let's go to the other side of it.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about, just kind of some of the slippery slope of it. And, obviously we got Super Bowl week coming up. So all of a sudden, Kansas City Chiefs world is now Swifties world. So let's talk about this Taylor Swift deep fake issue that showed up on X earlier this week. So there was actually an AI competition that ended up producing these Taylor Swift nudes that showed up on X. And it's a scary world that we're going into. So it's just a reminder of, we can't really trust everything that we see on in a digital format. So I wanted to give some people some reminders. So I asked ChatGPT to give me a little list of things to look for, to try to see if it's AI. And now at this point, I'm going to give a disclaimer on this and say, when it comes to imagery, some of this advice doesn't even work anymore. So this is mostly going to be about AI video because, we're in the campaign season and it's, easier and easier to create a fake campaign video and say outlandish things. Things to look for: unnatural facial expressions or movements, poorly synchronized audio, inconsistent lighting and shadows. If there are visual artifacts, little glitches, different things like that to look for. You've got to have a trained eye to kind of look for these things, but we've seen them. Inconsistencies with background, lack of blinking or excessive blinking. Blinking is one of those human reactions and things that is a natural thing that is second that it's not, it's noticeable. Unusual skin texture or tone, or just inconsistency of the quality of the source material, meaning all of a sudden you see one person that looks really grainy or lit differently in compared to the rest of the scene. So these are things that we need to start training ourselves as, viewers and consumers of media to try to spot some of these things that might be trying to, pull the wool over our eyes, so to speak. So,
Yeah.
anything in that
Yeah.
that world?
Actually, interestingly enough, there was a article and it was on CNN.com because I double checked the source and I thought this must have been relatively credible. Um, there was a kind of a deep fake issue, but the deep faked the CFO of the company, got a guy who ran the financials along on, invited him on a Zoom call. He's a little suspicious, but when he saw the CFO along with a couple other people that he knows within of maybe knows of within the company, maybe doesn't directly deal with the CFO all the time, whatever it may be, he transferred $25 million upon the request with this fake Zoom call. This was, I
Wow.
believe, in Hong Kong where it happened. And so this is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
We're going to hear more stories like this. And of course, we do hear stories of, say, relatives getting calls
Right.
from their loved ones or and so forth. So you have to be careful. You have to talk to, especially uh, your older relatives. Say, look, if you're unsure, if it seems strange, give me a call back. Call
Right.
me back and don't trust everything that you get on the
Well,
phone or even in video now.
yeah, I've actually had conversations with my parents now of, hey, if I want you to ask me a specific question and only I'm going to have the answer to this if you're not sure if it's me.
Yes.
And we've confirmed that question. And again, I'm not going to say that question in this
Oh,
format
what
right
is
now
that?
because
What is that?
yeah, exactly. You want all my passwords as well now? Uh, but yeah, I've had that conversation. It's kind of like a safe word. It's kind of like
Yeah.
just something to make sure and that just no computer could possibly know this. And talk about something when you were 6 years old or something that
Yeah.
happened, that only that person could possibly know because that's what's going to break through this.
Yeah, absolutely. Um,
All right, well, back to you to bring us
yeah.
home with rejecting AI.
So rejecting AI, Nightshade. Have you heard of Nightshade?
I have not.
Nightshade is an app that was downloaded, I guess, pretty quickly. 250,000 downloads, maybe in the first 24 hours, week, something like that. But it was
Okay,
quickly downloaded.
good numbers.
What it does is it allows you to kind of what they refer to as poison your artwork for AI. And so
Hmm.
AI, there's something within the pixels that AI will pick up and it will distort your work in a way that does not represent your work. And it shows examples of it. Now, obviously, it's not going to help old work, but
Right.
work moving forward, that's what I was talking about before. You can now protect your copyrights, your style work by not allowing the AIs to learn and train
Um,
off of your
okay.
work. And so it will be a unique. Now you can certainly bring in AI into your work
Mhm.
as a creative, but now you can better protect. And I think this will happen with voice and music and so forth. There will be detectors and ways to poison your creative work in a way that will not go into really the commons of the AI. If you think of it that
Right.
way, that the AI will be the commons area, and if you don't protect it, the AI will then take it. So Nightshade is the name of it, and I believe you can just
Nice.
download it to your computer. I know they had to do some updates to it for the Mac that was not working well, but I believe they got those updates set. And so if you're creative, look for Nightshade and you can download. I believe it's free. I believe it's free.
Hey, that's my favorite price.
And yeah, it's the best price. And hey, protect your work moving forward.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, that's a really good, again, why we're wanting to be here weekly doing this show is to try to give this advice, especially to our creative, listeners that, really want to protect stuff. And yeah, I don't want to be able to go to ChatGPT and say, hey, show me this beautiful image in the style of Rosh Sillars,
Yeah.
and have it be able to pop out and show your exact angles and your way of doing it. But yeah, that's a real concern for people.
But at the same
Absolutely.
time, you want the AIs to know who you are. I was actually doing
Mhm.
some tests last night. Put my name in Chat GDP. Who is Rosh Sillars? And it wrote out all that I was. Then I put in some names of some other people that I thought might know, did not know. I
Okay.
put my dad's name in there. He was a local
Yep.
TV person. So there's a lot of stuff written about him and even online, but had no idea who he was.
Oh wow.
But
Okay. You
some
thought it
other
would
people that
archive it.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's
I went through, and so people who have strong internet presence
mhm.
probably are within I believe your name was in there.
Oh, good.
Uh,
Yeah,
and
I mean, I'm on the website and stuff like
yeah.
that. So yeah. But
So
this
yeah.
is this the new version of Googling yourself?
Yes, exactly.
AI yourself?
Exactly.
So, all right. Well, I think we've done it for today, and we're very excited to continue to bring these relevant topics in the world of AI and how they blend with Google and social. We're still not going to ignore our worlds where we come from. But we're really excited to keep pushing forward with this newer format. And again, if anyone has any questions for us or any topics or wants to be a guest, please reach out to us.
Absolutely.
And yeah,
All right. Good talking to you. If you want to connect with us, head on over to creativeentrepreneurshow.com. And of course, you can connect with our businesses with Great Scott Media, Rosh Media, and of course, ask your questions. Have a great day.
have a great day.